Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to the Persistence Payoff Show. We're here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm your host, Kimberly Schafer. Here we believe that our dreams are the spark and persistence is a substance that turns those dreams into a reality. So we're focused on persistence and learning about it in every way possible. I'm on my own journey with persistence. I am a first-time entrepreneur and inventor. I'm the inventor of the Ring Thing, which is a patented waterproof ring holder. And persistence is a part of my daily journey as I learn this new next chapter in my life. I'm really excited to have as our guest today, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Dr. Jacalyn is the founder, president, and chief listening officer of USA Global TV and Radio. She's also known internationally as the listening mentor, and she has published multiple best-selling books. Not only has she accomplished these things, but she continues to grow both professionally and personally. And I'm really excited to talk with her about all of these things. So please welcome Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored and thrilled to have you here. And this is December 23rd, so it's a wonderful way to close out the year for me, is to have you as a guest on the show. So thank you so much for making the time.
Oh, thank you for asking. I feel honored.
Yeah, thank you. You know, before we talk about where we are and what's to come with USA Global TV and Radio, I would love for you to tell us how you first got the idea for the network and how it came to be.
Well, thanks for asking. I appreciate that. I'm not used to spotlighting myself, so I'll just be next to you.
Okay.
So back in 2019, I received a phone call from a radio station in New York, and they wanted to interview me. They found me on Google. And at the time, I was working my corporate career, but I also was a life coach. And so I did the interview. And then the next day, they said I had everything that you needed to be a radio show host. And so they offered me a spot, and I paid them, and I went ahead and did that. And then subsequently, I was invited to be on a TV show, Connect to Success. And so at the end of that interview, which was at an actual television station, I thought, I really love this, and it's something that I want to do. So then I asked the owner if I could have my own show. And so my radio show and my TV show were called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And it's kind of a tribute to my father because his name was Jack. And my friends and I used to pull our chairs around my dad, and we would just rap with Jack. We would just chat with him and talk to him about boys and life and whatever else was going on. And then fast forward, people started coming to me and saying, well, can I be a guest on the show? And so we were booked out for over a year. And then people said, well, can I do a show with you? And so it was at that moment that I went from having a hobby to having a business where people were actually willing to pay to be on the platform. And then my mother got dementia, and I moved in with her full time to take care of her. And so that's when the business was really built.
Wow. Well, thank you. And first, I'm very sorry about your mother and her experience with dementia. That's tough for everybody involved. So I'm very sorry about that. One thing that struck me as you were sharing your story is that even way back in the beginning, there was that kernel of persistence. You were on a show and it went well, and you were persistent about asking. You had the courage to say, could I have my own show? And, you know, that was your step forward, your courageous step at that point. So as I hear your story, it's just from the very beginning, I can see your persistence and your willingness to put yourself on the line and ask for those things.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like I've always been somewhat persistent, but I have to admit that I believe it started from a place of fear. And the persistence was with working out, because I always had this fear of being overweight, and I still have the fear till today. But so I was very persistent and am very persistent. As you know, in my workouts, they really come first. And so it's kind of given me strength and empowered me to be persistent in other things. And so I basically just look at myself and say, okay, what is it that you can do to find a solution? And I put the emotion aside, which I've worked on for a very long time. And how can I get done what needs to be done?
Wow, that is a great lesson right there, because it's not easy to put the emotion aside. At least for me, it's easy to get sidetracked by that. So good for you. And at what point, like in terms of an entity of USA Global TV and Radio, when did that first come into existence?
I actually was contacted by someone from the United Kingdom, Ian Pelham Turner, who's a very good friend of mine now, and he's been covering the royal family in Britain for 57 years. And he reached out to me, and I don't even remember how he found me. And he said, I think you really have something, and I'd like to mentor you and help you. And he came up with the name USA Global TV and Radio. And so we officially launched USA Global TV and Radio in 2022. I think it was January 15th.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I'd love that. And again, you were open to that. So that's your willingness to be vulnerable and put yourself on the line with that. I think that's fantastic. And so now here we are at the end of 2025. And so USA Global TV and Radio became an entity in 2022. And can you share with us how it has grown and what you've accomplished in those 3 years? Even if it was the beginning of 2022, it'd only be 3.5 years. I mean, what you've done is incredible.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's interesting because I had no experience whatsoever. And every day I'm really blessed because I'm in a position where I can spend my time learning. And so what started out was Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn was really focused on the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, because I'm a patient and I've been a volunteer and I'm on the board, and it was giving people a place to share their story. And so my first show was From Adversity to Awesome. And so once I saw how that was taking off and how people were really feeling empowered to be able to share their story, then I was creating more shows and more shows. And of course, more and more people were coming forward and saying, hey, I'd like to do this. So I started training people, because in the beginning, during the pandemic, I was doing all the shows by myself because I was in the house taking care of my mother, and I really didn't want to leave very much. So there might be 10 shows in a day that I was doing, and I stood up for every one of them because I was always standing for people who can't stand. I'm standing right now. And so it ended up the evolution of what was sort of a vanity project / wanting to help give people a voice became a business. And so now it's much bigger than I am. So I've actually created it so that this platform can run without me, and so that it will long live past my lifetime, hopefully, and that more people will still come here and have the opportunity to share their story.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's a great accomplishment. And, and I also think you're really wise to set it up that way, that it can exist without you. And they say that's one of the signs of a great leader, right? Is that you're not setting it up so that you have to be present for every single thing, but you're setting it up thoughtfully so that it can continue whether you're there or not. And that's a great leadership quality. So I also give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I know I have a number of people that really inspire me. I'm not going to mention their names, but most of them have a business that is built on their name. And so if they decide they can't do it anymore, then what happens to their business? And it's interesting because when I first started, and I'd almost forgotten about this, we were doing everything through drjacalyn.com as opposed to usaglobaltv.com or usaglobaltvradio.com. And so all the bookings were actually on that website. And someone came to me and said, you want to separate yourself from the television network. So today, that is how it's structured. I have Dr. Jacalyn LLC and I have USA Global TV LLC. And so they're completely different entities.
I see. That makes really good sense. And in terms of Dr. Jacalyn and you're globally known as the listening mentor, and was your work with elevated listening, does that predate USA Global TV and Radio, or did those things kind of develop together?
They were actually simultaneous. I think it was back in 2021 or 2022. I don't remember. But somebody said to me, "You're a really good listener, and we should call you the listening mentor." And so I went ahead and trademarked it. And that's how I was referred to. And it's interesting because throughout most of my life, people will tell me things that they wouldn't ordinarily tell people. And I really pride myself on listening without judgment, because I want people to know they have someplace safe that they can share whatever it is they're thinking, and then I'm not going to judge them. But too often we are automatically judged. So in my role as the listening mentor, which is really through masterclasses, workshops, keynotes, etc., I want people to know that you can give the gift of listening without judging, interrupting, problem solving, or stage hogging.
It's so important. And I think you're so right. It's, I'm going to misstate the saying, but there's a saying that so often people are listening just to wait for a pause so that they can speak. And that's a totally different process than actually listening. Do you have a definition of elevated listening that you could share with us?
Absolutely. Elevated listening is basically the 4 pillars that I just met. So it's setting a boundary and asking permission to share what it is that you want to share, and then staying in the confines of that. So if I say to you, Kimberly, I'd love to share something with you, it's going to take about 15 minutes, would now be a good time. And so at this point, you could become the elevated listener and say, you know what, this is a good time. I have the 15 minutes. Or you could set a boundary and say, I really want to hear what you have to say, but this isn't a great time, and then offer something else. And so as the listener who's listening at an elevated level, which again is not standing on a chair, it's not looking down on someone, it's basically listening, not to respond, but to provide a safe space, a gift, where your listening means you are completely and totally focused on what the other person is saying. You're not judging them. You're not trying to solve a problem for them. You're not interrupting them. And you're not trying to steal their time and give your story. People do that so often. So that's what I call elevated listening.
That makes great sense. And what a gift to the world to be sharing that, because it helps everybody. It helps the listener and the speaker. So it helps all of us. And I'm curious to know, so there are 60 different shows on USA Global TV and Radio, I believe. And how many individual hosts are part of the network?
I think today, I should have the exact number. I want to say 21 or 22. And then we have maybe 4 more who are starting within a week or so. So as of the 60 plus shows, not all of them are active. Some of them are archived, but they still exist on our different channels so that people can go back and see them. Because since we started, of course, people will come and be a TV show host maybe for a reason, for a season, whereas other people, it's really part of who they are, and it's part of an education, a legacy that they're leaving. So I think it's important to still have that content available from the shows that maybe we've archived for whatever reason.
I think it makes really good sense. I mean, I know myself, if I'm researching a topic, for example, I might go back and find a show or an article from years ago. And so I think it's great that they are still available and people can find them. And I'm curious to know, how do you screen people to come in as hosts? Because just as we're talking about, so often people are not elevated listeners. And I know that that's a very important pillar of USA Global TV and Radio. So I'm wondering how you screen people and what your process is to make sure that there's elevated listening across all of the shows.
Thank you for asking that. I appreciate it. So I do all of the interviews of potential new show hosts. And what I want to find out is, what is the reason that they want to have a show? How is it going to fit into whatever their goals and objectives are? Many times people say, well, how much does it cost? And this, and so I'll say, well, let's take a step back. Let's look at what is the reason why you want to do this. And then people will say, well, how much money can I make from it? And I'll look at them and I'll say, I can't guarantee that you're going to make any money from it. It depends on what a return on investment means to you. Does it mean leaving a legacy of world-class education? Does it mean being part of a family? Does it mean taking your business and expanding your brand through television and radio? And so if someone says to me, well, I'm only interested in the bottom line, the dollar. So in that case, that comes to a different kind of interview where it's, well, what are you going to do with the content once you create it? Just because you create a TV show doesn't mean that you're going to get throngs of people coming here and that they're going to do something. So the good news is that we've already built a platform with an audience. We earned the YouTube Silver Creator Award on our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. And so we already have a platform in place. We already have extended distribution. So I will interview them to understand what are your goals and objectives and make sure that they're a good fit. And meaning a good fit, are they coachable? Are they argumentative? Are they coming from a place of ego? I really only want people who are coming from a place of love, and they are very coachable. And so at this point, I've either produced or hosted over 8,000 TV shows and radio shows. So I have a lot of experience, and I don't say that from an ego place. I just have a good eye for who's a fit and who's potentially not going to work out so well.
That makes really good sense. Yeah, what good. And I think that shows, because the programs and the shows that are on USA Global TV and Radio are fascinating. I often listen to other shows while I'm doing something in the house or doing something with my work, and I'm always learning something. And so I think that those efforts really pay off, that you have put into it. And I want to just, thank you. I want to just pause for a moment on the award. So to earn the award from YouTube, I believe that meant that there are 100,000 followers. Is that correct?
So it's 100,000 subscribers. And what's interesting, Kimberly, is the fact that even though there are YouTube channels out there that have far more than that, and even names, very well-known names of people who have YouTube channels, they have not earned this award. And so there are certain criteria. And of course, with any of the platforms, it always seems like it's kind of nebulous. Like you can't actually get the exact information that you need, because it always seems like you're one or two steps away from dealing with a human. But you have to have 100,000 subscribers. You have to have certain kinds of content. So when we go to post something on a YouTube channel, there are a number of questions that are asked that we have to answer. Does it have any content that's about violence or guns or, any of these things that could be really controversial? And so for channels that are all about that, I would think, I don't know, but I would think it might be a little more challenging to get the award. But when I looked into it, what I found was less than 1% of all the YouTube channels in the world have the Silver Creator Award. So it was difficult to get for a number of reasons, which I can go into, but the bottom line is you have to have search engine optimization, in my experience, and you have to have a team of people you can really trust, because you're giving them access to your platform, and they have to really know what they're doing, because the algorithm changes all the time. And so if they're not keeping up with it, then you're going to get left behind.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And, as you're talking, I'm reflecting that this is just over a 3-year period since you started USA Global TV and Radio that you have grown it to this point. So again, congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm going to step away for a moment and go and get it. So
okay, yes, I would love that.
I'll just take myself off the screen for a moment.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I'll share while Dr. Jacalyn is getting the actual award is that I have been a host for just over a year on USA Global TV and Radio, and I have learned so much both from Dr. Jacalyn personally, but also from the other hosts and from the guests. And so for me, it's been extremely enriching personally as well as professionally, but I would say personally more than anything. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here. You are very successful in your own right. You've accomplished so much. You're very coachable, and I just love what you're doing professionally and personally. So kudos to you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I have the award here. I'm just going to spotlight myself. It's actually heavy. I had it framed. So this is the award, and it actually comes just like the silver part. It comes in a box that has a card, and so I had it framed. And when I'm working, I have it in front of me all the time because it actually really motivates me. Like I'm in my studio here, and I could put it up in here, but it's actually right next to me in the other room where I do a lot of my work, and I look and I go, that's pretty cool. We got it in April of this year. So it was just 3 years and I think 2 or 3 months after we started USA Global TV and Radio.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. That's very inspirational. And yes, and congratulations. Is there one beyond that? Like this is silver. Is there a gold award?
Oh, yes. There's, so we have 100,000. I think the next one is 1 million. And then 10 million. And so you can imagine it takes a lot of work to get from one to the next. But we actually had something very interesting happen, which is we were given permission to stream content that was actually produced and created by another television network. And so we had been streaming this specific show. And the person who was in charge of the content at the other television network, they went on and they objected to all of these people who were streaming their content. And so they objected to 4 episodes of the show that they had given us permission to stream. And this was right after I had applied for the award because I thought we're going to be close to getting it. And of course, when we contacted the people at the other television network, they're like, oh, we're so sorry, it was a mistake. Well, it doesn't matter if it's a mistake, you still put in there that it was a copyright issue. And so to get them and YouTube to come to terms to drop those claims, I can't even tell you what actually happened. We had to have someone actually physically go to the station and work with the person who put the claim in so that they could take, and say that they made a mistake. And so it was very stressful, but everything is a lesson, I think.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm glad. Again, persistence. You didn't give up. You persisted.
Yeah, it's true. And so we also had someone I hired, a team of people. They hijacked one of the channels. And so they were asking for money to get it back. I mean, it's not easy. There are a lot of people who want to take advantage and they find ways.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm curious to know, like now we're at the end of the year. And so when you look back over 2025, for me, I feel like USA Global TV and Radio has grown so much just in the last year. And as you look back over the year, are there like 2 or 3 things that you're particularly proud of that have been accomplished?
I think I'm very proud of the team. And I feel that almost everyone on the team really feels like it's a family, and people are reaching out to one another and saying, hey, can I collaborate with you? People are booking on other people's shows. And so I'm personally really proud of the team that we have here, and also how each of our team members is really heart-centric, and each and every one of us is about helping other people. And so I'm also a peace ambassador, and I take it really seriously, thinking about helping others. And I think also coming from a place of love where we're not falling into a pattern of hate. And I know so many people who are just filled with so much anger and hate. And so that's not what we have here. And I'm really proud of that. I think that really stands out. And I think the other thing is the fact that I have been able to travel different places in the world and shake the hands of people who have been with me since the beginning. And I'm still trying to get everywhere. I haven't met you personally yet. There's a number of people I haven't met, which my intentions are to do that. But to know that people still believe and that people are still contributing through mentorship and through just bringing ideas forward and referring people into the platform, that really means a lot.
Yeah. Well, those are great accomplishments, and I also give you kudos for those happening, because again, I think that's your leadership and example that lays the groundwork for that to be possible. And so,
Thank
yeah,
you.
congratulations. And now going into 2026, there are a couple of new things that I would love to have you tell us about, and one of them is a nonprofit that you've just founded. Can you tell us about that and what the plan is for that?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. I'm going to bring up the actual logo. It's USA Global Voices of Humanity Foundation. And I have to say, I cannot take all the credit for this because I was actually having lunch with my dear friend and mentor, Mr. Alcini, who has been with me since the beginning. He was with me at the television station before I came here. And he and I were just having a chat, and he suggested about the nonprofit. And part of the reason was, if you think about it, there are places in the world where people are suppressed. They're not able to talk. And if they wanted to talk, they don't have the means to be able to do so. So I thought to myself, why not create a nonprofit that obviously has to be separate and distinct from the for-profit, where we can look at possible projects for people to be able to share their voice, and not just at USA Global TV and radio, but at other platforms in other ways. So we actually give the voiceless a voice. So I literally that day, Friday, today is Tuesday, I started doing research on how do you form a nonprofit and how do you register it and what do you do. And so I did all of that. I got the EIN number. And so by Friday night, I was literally ecstatic at the fact that it had been formed, registered, the EIN number. And so there's still a step that has to be made, which is registering with the IRS so that you can get 501(c) status. But you have to have the board meeting first. So then I was looking at different board members. And of course, there were a number of people I really wanted to bring in from our platform, but there has to be distinct entities so that it's not looking like there's some kind of collusion or whatever the word is. So anyway, the board meeting is January 8th. And I'm really excited because we have people from different parts of the world and each person is bringing something significant. So we'll see where it goes.
Fantastic. I'm so excited to see how it develops. And as you were talking, I was reflecting on a trip I was on some years ago to Tanzania in the Kilimanjaro region with the Rotary Club. And one of the things that I noticed was that everybody had a cell phone, even the Maasai shepherds out with the cows, everybody had a cell phone. And so I think that there's an opportunity to reach people in all parts of the world and as you're saying, give them a voice and an opportunity. So that's very exciting. And I can't wait to see how it develops.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that I found in my role as a peace ambassador, I've gone through 3 rounds of trainings with 3 different entities. And many of the people who join are from impoverished areas or areas where there's a lot of violence, where literally every day just living is a major step. And so they don't have the Wi-Fi. In many cases, they have to turn the video off just so they have enough bandwidth for the audio. So I do know of other entities that are specific about doing shows about peace, but they don't have the funding. So if we can find donors and get donations to help these people get a voice, then I think that would really be incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that I think that we'll hear some wonderful and inspiring and sobering stories through that platform, through that effort. So congratulations. And I love the logo. I think the logo is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. I spent a lot of time on it because I wanted to get the right feeling. In fact, some of the first iterations, I had a lot of pastel colors in it. One of them was like a pinwheel, and I thought, oh, that looks really pretty, but it wasn't serious enough. And so I feel like this is, with the colors, they're sort of more muted, and it's the 2 entities looking at each other with the eagle. And I really feel like it speaks to voices of humanity. And I'm hoping that that's what comes across.
Yes, that's what I felt very much so. And when I saw the bird in the middle, I actually was thinking of a dove. And so I was thinking about the peace part,
Yes.
and I absolutely can see the eagle in there as well. So I think it's beautifully done. And the colors are very soothing, but also, you're right, but very professional looking. So I think it's great. It's one of the nicest logos I've seen.
Thank you. Thank you. And like when you talk about persistence, I mean, Friday after I got back from the gym, I literally sat and this is all I did for about 7 hours, went to bed after midnight. But to me, it's always about if you can get it done now, get it done instead of putting it off. So that's how I am with everything. In fact, this weekend, I've got plans for a couple of things. I'm going to come out with a course about fake news. I'm really passionate about this because they talked about it in our last peace training. They actually showed articles and videos, which we were not allowed to film or take pictures of fake news that people are putting things out there and then people don't know that it's actually fake and they're sharing it and they're liking it. And then someone ends up dying as a result of it because someone really believed that this is actually true. So I'm going to be combining elevated listening with understanding what it means when we move forward things that we don't actually research to determine if they're true or not. So just like with the logo, when I put my mind to something, it's like, what a blessing I get to do this.
Yes, absolutely. And especially now in the age of AI, people are making fake videos, fake news stories. So it's very timely and important. So thank you for doing that.
I'm so glad you said that because I've seen people I know and they have these videos out there and it doesn't even look like them. And I'll reach out to them and say, I just want to let you know, I saw your video and it doesn't look like you. Like, what is the message? It doesn't go with your branding. And so just from a business coach perspective, I use ChatGPT, but ChatGPT, and I'm sorry I forget who owns it, but it makes a lot of mistakes. And although it's really good for certain things, I will say to it, that's completely wrong. You didn't do any research on it. Sometimes I just give a test just to see what it'll come back with. And it'll say, you're right. And then I'll say, well, you would have said I was right anyway, because you consistently think that I'm right. So you're not being like, you're really just saying what it is I want to hear. So I think we have to be really careful. I do think in a lot of ways, artificial intelligence saves money because things that we would hire people to do, we don't necessarily have to do. But please look at what it is it's coming back with, because that doesn't mean that it's accurate.
Yeah, I so agree. And I've myself have been the victim of that a couple of times. I know on my own Facebook page, I've shared a couple of stories and then I'll find out hopefully pretty quickly that they're fake. And then I just delete it because it's so important to me to try to be accurate. There's enough information out there that we can double check things. But it's so true. I mean, fake videos, fake news. So I think that's a really important course that you're developing.
Thank you.
And I also would love to talk about your academic pursuit, because you have your master's and you have your PhD, and many people would say that's enough. I'm just going to stop there. And I'm just so inspired that you are continuing your education and starting a program with the Wharton School of Business. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I would love to. And just to clarify, I don't have a PhD. I have a DBA. So it's a doctorate in business administration. And the difference is because I was deciding back then, should I go for the PhD? The PhD is a researcher's degree, whereas the DBA is you're actually using it in your real life as opposed to you're doing research per se, but they both have their place. So I always wanted to go to Wharton, and my father always wanted me to go to Wharton. And instead I went to Penn State. I paid for part of my education. I don't know if I could have gotten into Wharton. I didn't apply, but it was very expensive. And so my dad, he was very supportive and loved me, but he said, you should have gone to the other Penn. And I said, yeah, that's easy to say, right? So I happened to see an advertisement for the Chief Strategy Officer program. And I saw it on social media, and I saw it a few times, like every time I was like, wow, there it is again. And I hadn't clicked on it or anything. And so then I couldn't find it, just disappeared. But I kept thinking about it. So then I decided to do some research, and I actually went to the website and I found it. And you have to apply, and it's a big ticket item. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm going to get in because I'm too old. I'm 62. So I was already judging myself. And I thought, they probably want young people who are just new in their career. I don't even know if they want business owners. And I thought something was telling me just to apply. So I applied, and I forget if it took a week or two or three, something, and they came back and said that they were delighted to have me. And so I thought, wow, this is incredible. And I did think, wow, what kind of workload is this going to be? Because I'm already pretty much, I'm pretty well occupied because I'm always coming up with something new to work on. And so we had our first orientation. And the thing that was so interesting to me is when I got my doctorate, I was in my full-time career. I was also working part-time at Bloomingdale's. I was doing makeovers, and with my full-time job, I was traveling, selling meetings and events. And I was also running 60 auctions a week on my eBay store. And so I started doing this doctorate, and the technology was so cool. And so I graduated in 2011 with my doctorate, and I haven't actually been on an academic platform like that since then. So that's a long time. And so it was neat to get back on there and see what they're doing today. And one of the things that really stood out for me was before it's an asynchronous environment, which means it's not actually live, but you're putting the information up in real time. And so you could see what other people had posted. And now you can't see anything until you put your answer up, and then you can see the other answers so that it doesn't influence what you're going to be writing. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I know that we're just about out of time here, and I find your journey to be so inspirational, and your persistence and your willingness to just continue to try and put yourself out there and try new things and always be thinking. And I think, I'm 65, I'll be 66 in March, and I think it's kind of an exciting time, I think, to be someone in your 60s and still have the energy and the motivation to try new things, because we do have a wealth of experience behind us that hopefully we can use to inform our next steps and help other people. So I just find what you're doing to be so inspirational.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just make one more comment, which is I remember my mother in 2020, she was 80, and it was right before the pandemic had hit. And I used to go and visit her every 3 weeks in Florida, and she'd have on her little tennis outfit, and she played for the Delray Beach tennis team. And sometimes she would play against people who were half her age. She was playing doubles, and she had her little hat on, and she'd be eating her oatmeal and drinking her tea. And it was just a priority. She would go out there for an hour and a half in the blazing sun of Florida. And, she was very competitive. She had a wicked two-handed backhand, and she wasn't going out there like get some sunshine. She was going out there to win. And so I always remember that. And there was nothing that was going to stop her. In fact, she used to have some kind of discussions with my dad about the fact that she was so passionate about the tennis. But I think when you're passionate about something, it's actually a gift that you have because you get to do it and you get to find your passion. Whereas so many people are out there saying, well, I have a dream, maybe one day. There's no one day, it's today, and you've got to make it happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that you're giving me goosebumps. That just gave me goosebumps with hearing that. So, well, I feel like that is a great spot to end our discussion today. I feel like I could keep talking to you for a couple more hours. So, but that's the goosebumps are going away. But that was beautiful. Before we let you go, could you please let people know how they can find you and how can they connect with you?
Absolutely. So there's a number of ways. I'm going to bring them up if I have them here in order. You can go to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com, usaglobaltvandradio.com. If you're interested in being a show host, we do have a platform for elite host certification. And so you can apply here. And also, if you're interested in being a guest, you can book your session here. And we limit it to 3 interviews a year. If you want to come back for a 4th, 5th, or 6th, there's a fee, but you can do 3 for free. You just have to scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll find them. And then if people want to connect with me on Instagram, they can go there. Instagram is not my first platform, but I think it's an important one for various reasons. And of course, you can just Google me, and you can go over to LinkedIn. And of course, you can go to our 2 YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, and also to Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. And I do have a slide for that I'm looking for. And it is right here. So thank you for the opportunity, Kimberly. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I'm just honored and thrilled. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing what's going to happen for all of us in 2026. And I wish you a very happy holiday season and a very happy and prosperous 2026. Bye, everyone.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, and happy holidays to you as well. I hope that 2026 is a year of wishes fulfilled. I always end every show with a quote about persistence, and it seems to generally fit quite well with what the discussion was. Today's quote is from Tom Hiddleston, who said, "You never know what's around the corner. It could be everything, or it could be nothing. You keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then one day you look back and you've climbed a mountain." And I think that Dr. Jacalyn's journey and her experience of setting up this amazing platform and everything that she's doing, she's climbed and is climbing a mountain and doing a great job of it. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to connect with me. You can find me on my website at ringthing.com. My email address is kimberly@ringthing.com. And my Instagram is @ring_thing. And if you go to the website, which is up on the screen now, that will have links to my email address and also to the Instagram page. So please, I would love to have any comments, any thoughts, suggestions for guests. Please feel free to reach out, and happy holidays to everyone. We'll be back in 2 weeks on USA Global TV and Radio.
USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award, proudly presents Just the Thing for Your Ring, introducing the patented Ring Thing. Your premium personal ring holder to keep your ring safe, nearby, and avoid loss.
The Ring Thing just got smarter. Add your logo and an NFC tag that opens to your website with one tap. Waterproof, inner padding, and now a forever business card.
Just the thing for your ring. Scan the QR code seen here to learn more about Ring Thing or place your order. Follow Ring Thing on Instagram at ring_thing_ or go to our website, ringthing.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.